God reveals himself to you in a self-evident way. Everything that you see is evidence of something that is eternal. To think otherwise would be incoherent. Okay, so you got that for starters?
Yeah, you could elaborate.
Well, unless you want to believe that something popped into existence from nothing, then everything that begins to exist is going to have its origin in something that did not begin to exist. So everything that has been made or come into being is in virtue of something that is eternal. The book of Romans states God's eternal powers have been clearly seen through what has been made, so that men are without excuse. So when you look at all the stuff around you, right, it's going to have to, in order to be rational, you're going to have to conclude that there's something that does not begin, something is not dependent, that provides for all things that do begin. So even atheists, you will only find very rare outlier atheists who don't believe that something is eternal, right? And to believe that something is not eternal, in my view, is simply incoherent. So the first way God shows you that he exists is that it's a hop, skip, and a jump to conclude that everything that begins to exist has its origin in that which is eternal. Number two, whatever it is that is eternal has to be personal and rational. Otherwise, we couldn't be. Because if you say to yourself, "Oh, well, I'm personal and rational because it's an emergent property of evolution," that doesn't solve the problem. Okay? Because how are you rational in a world that is governed by laws? Explain that.
Wait, but the first part, what if we believe that the particulars themselves are eternal?
Well, that's fine, but then the ultimacy of reality, the set of particulars, whatever let's say the substrate of matter and energy, whatever you want to conceive that to be, they would be non-rational. Because if the ultimacy of reality was rational, that's what we call God. So you're going to believe that the ultimacy of reality is non-personal and non-rational. But you're rational, aren't you? Well, then you believe in alchemy. You believe, and I'm just being a little tongue-in-cheek here, you believe that cats give birth to alligators. You believe that non-rationality is the ground of all being, spit out rationality. How do you get rationality from non-rationality? Appealing to evolution doesn't cut it. And there are even atheistic evolutionary philosophers who say we do not have free will. We do not have agency. We are simply the product of eons of evolution over billions and millions of years and external stimuli, right? So if you're rational, if you have the freedom to think, and you're not just a robot in terms of your thinking, right? And I doubt that you're going to tell me you're a robot in your thinking, that you have the ability to make some choices, then it's just incoherent for you to adopt that that which is ultimate and absolute and eternal is non-rational or non-personal, because then you can't be. And this is what Romans 1 is talking about. God's eternal powers have been clearly seen through what has been made, so that men are without excuse. So if you say, okay, yeah, I admit that something's eternal, but I don't accept that it's God. Say, good, then you're accepting that it's non-personal and non-rational, but you're rational. How do you explain your rationality? Because if you say, well, evolution, I'll say, oh, so you have the ability to make some free choices and reasoning in your head when those alleged choices are simply from the product of causality and laws of nature? Show me where there are choices in chemistry and physics.
Wait, show you what? Can you
show me how physics produces choices? It doesn't.
Well, there's certain determinists that say that a certain composition of synapses and neurons in the brain produces thoughts.
No, that's just a more sophisticated way of saying evolution made us rational.
I have a concept for you.
But evolution is the basis of atheism.
Of course it is. Mostly today, not entirely. I mean, there were atheists before the theory of evolution. But the point is simply this. You ask me, how did God make himself known? You can't have coherence or intelligibility without there being God. And if you say, oh, I don't need God for intelligibility, say, good. Tell me about how do you have intelligibility in a world that's governed by chance? You say, well, it's not governed by chance. And they'll say, well, how do you know that? See, all you can say is there's stuff happening out there. Unless you have a sovereign God who is omniscient, omnipotent, always truth revealing, and he has a sovereign plan that he executes so that he can make human beings in his image so that they can know some things that they can't be wrong about, then you don't have a basis for intelligibility. You think you will, but upon examination, you won't.
What do you mean intelligibility?
It means that a dependent fact will mean something with respect to what it ultimately depends upon. Okay? If you'd say to me, well, I have all these dependent facts and I know they're facts, but I don't know what they ultimately depend upon, those are meaningless facts. The reason why people think they can have intelligibility for facts independent of God is because they haven't even thought about it. They just think, well, I know I can eat a cheeseburger and I'm an atheist. I believe in God. I don't believe in God. That's not the issue.
But what's the problem with dependent facts being meaningless ultimately?
Because in order for a fact to be intelligible and meaningful, you're going to have a framework for it. Okay? Tonlock got very excited yesterday when I told him that I won the lottery 420. Okay, Tonlock's a friend of mine on here. He was giddy because I told him that I was going to give him 10% of my winning the $10 million lottery. Right? But you see, today he was very disappointed. He said, when are you going to get the check from the lottery commission? And I said, let me try to remember. I said, I'm trying to remember. They said that I was going to get it in 2 weeks. And he goes, well, when did they tell you that? And I said, well, that was in my dream 2 nights ago. So, and he goes, wait a minute, your dream? Now, once I said dream, that introduced a framework or a canvas upon which the fact sits. Now, when I said that it was a dream, did that change the factness of winning the $10 million? Of course it did. Yes, it did.
A dream and real life are not the same.
That's my point. You're not understanding the point. Because in order for something to be a fact, it has to be derived from a system. Okay? And if the system is unidentified, then you don't have a fact. The problem is most people go through their normal days with the system implicit, and they don't even bother thinking about it. They just think it's a given. But when we're having these kind of metaphysical discussions, then it's perfectly appropriate for us to invoke or focus on what is the underlying system that provides for the meaning of these facts.
But you don't need an ultimate meaning for something.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. You just aren't you aren't well thought of in this on this subject. Okay. You cannot even explain the sky is blue without background information about what is ultimate. If you don't know what's ultimate, then you can't explain the sky is blue. Do you realize that?
Well, that's where I think I disagree with you because...
Good. Okay, good. You disagree with me. Now, defend the sky is blue without having any background information about what is ultimate. What is skyness and what is blueness?
Like the atmosphere is blue colored because how the light...
Atmosphere? What do you mean atmosphere? Is this something that continues over time?
He said I will embarrass you, Doc. He misspelled embarrass.
Okay, listen. Is atmosphere, is this a class that continues over time?
I don't know what you mean.
Tom, like, don't be too hard on him. He speaks multiple language, and English may not be his first language. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's okay. Okay. So 420. Okay. Atmosphere. Is this something that is this a state in existence that is secured by laws of nature and has continuity over time?
Yeah.
What provides for that continuity, sir?
Oh wait, what's continuity?
Continuity.
Yeah, what is that?
Means that things stay the same over time. How do you know that these things stay the same over time? Is there something that secures it? Is the atmosphere and the earth eternal?
That might not be the case.
Oh, okay. Well, then what I want to know is what secures what you think is continuous? How about all the events around us are happening spontaneously, giving the appearance of continuity, right?
That could be the.
Okay, good. So if it's simply the appearance of continuity and not actually continuity, then you don't have an argument for the sky being blue, do you?
Specifically on that.
In addition, and blueness, you're going to say that it's a portion of the electromagnetic spectrum that interacts with the back of your eye and sends a signal to your brain. But all of that, you're going to have continuity for laws of nature. But you're not going to be able to establish that there are laws of nature. You devoutly believe in them, but you will not be able to justify them. Because in order to justify them, you're going to appeal to your sense perception. But you have to presuppose laws of nature to talk about eyesight.
It's more than that. It's also the problem of.
You're not. That's right. You see, what you don't understand is without a model of reality, you can't have facts.
What are the laws of nature?
Wait, I disagree. I think the problem.
Listen, why did Tom Locke become disappointed when I told him I was going to give him 10% of my lottery winnings? Why did he go from being excited to disappointment? Because what he thought was a fact, when I gave him the background information, it turns out it wasn't a fact at all. So without the background information, you don't have facts, sir.
I disagree on that one.
Well, I'm sorry that you disagree. It's because you're not well studied in this area.
No, that analogy.
You listen to me carefully. I have to go in a minute. I appreciate your objection and I welcome it. You cannot have intelligibility for facts without background information. Do you understand?
You can't have ultimate intelligibility, but you can have intelligibility.
No, no, because then that's not what you're focusing on is your.
Is there a difference between those kinds of intelligibility, ultimate versus
intelligibility means that it means something with respect to the system. What you want to do is you want to start short or stop short of the background information. You want to stop with approximate explanation, but approximate explanation doesn't explain itself.
I understand what you're saying, because I feel like the analogy you used with the lottery doesn't quite.
Yeah, Tom Locke was excited because he thought he was going to get 10% of my lottery winnings. All right. Now, when I gave him further background information, he thought the background information was the real world. When I told him that I won the lottery in my dream, he completely changed his mind about the factness of the fact. The fact in question was no fact at all, was it?
Oh, I didn't hear that it was a dream. I thought you were talking. All I heard was that you.
Okay, well, you didn't hear the whole conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
But Darth, ultimate intelligibility isn't like a requirement in like.
Why not? Why? Who says who?
Because you can have intelligibility, but not ultimate.
You're not understanding what I mean by. I'm talking about metaphysical intelligibility. I'm not talking about you being an atheist and I being a Christian, and I say to you the sky is blue, and you understand that. That's not what we're talking about. Intelligibility.
No, I know what you're saying.
Let me explain it to you. It's very simple. Are you an atheist? 420.
Yeah.
Okay. So you as an atheist will say the sky is blue because of not God. Whatever is ultimate in reality that is not God. The sky is blue because of not God. I say the sky is blue because of God. One of those propositions is false. Got it?
Yeah.
Now, we apparently have the same subject in our propositions, even though one of the propositions is false. But the subject in each proposition, one of the subjects is false as well. Do you understand? Because you cannot disconnect or disassociate the subject from the predicate. So the sky is blue because of not God versus the sky is blue because of not God. One of those statements of the sky is blue is metaphysically unintelligible because it doesn't exist. My saying I won the lottery is metaphysically unintelligible because that world doesn't exist. The point is, when we talk about intelligibility for a fact, okay, we're identifying the fact as actual, viable, and intelligible with respect to the system. If the fact in question, which depends upon its existence for the system, if that system isn't there, then that fact doesn't exist with respect to the system. Now, there may be another fact that may be worded the same way, but it's not the same fact anymore that I have two copies of a photocopied poem where they're word for word the same, but they are not the same thing. They are different things. So you can't be confused by the superficial resemblance of the statement the sky is blue. One of the statements of the sky is blue is vacuous. It doesn't exist. Okay? The sky is blue in the not God world and the sky is blue in the God world are two different contradictory facts. They have a superficial resemblance in terms of semantics, but they are two different facts. So one of those facts, the sky being blue in each proposition, one of those subjects, okay, in relation to the predicate is false. It doesn't exist. It has no metaphysical intelligibility. And I have to go. I'll be back on later if you guys want to continue this, but I have to pick up somebody, okay? All right. Thanks for the participation and very good questions.